so far we've talked about the gateway that gets our data to our server. We've got a sensor that actually collects the data, and now we got to have access to this data. So the next part of any system is some sort of portal, whether it be a Windows application. In the PAR's case, we use a web-based application. And basically what's it do? It provides access to the web server. So a computer with a web browser can be used, or a mobile application can be used on an iPhone, an iPad, or different types of Android devices, being the most common. The portal is your administration central. It's where you can add users and user information. It's where you set up the alerts that we really care about. And the portal allows basic setup of each sensor for your desired needs and the thresholds we want to set on the data. Throw out a quick example of what this would be. I'll use a cooler, for instance. Maybe we want to set a cooler to alert us if the temperature rises above 41 degrees for an extended period beyond the defrost cycle. Or maybe we want to know when a cooler goes below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, because we don't want to freeze all our produce, wrecking the food quality. So in this case, you got some food safety issues, and on the other side, going below 32 or below, you got a food quality that we're addressing. So I got to note that an IoT monitoring system must allow for a way to take into account these defrost cycles, because when we first got into this, some of our first customers were getting a multitude of alarms based on defrost cycles, so you must take that into account when you're setting the system up. You don't want false alerting. You want to get an alert when there's really action to be taken, when you really have a problem. And that's something we take very seriously. The system also allows, from the portal, you can set up your hierarchy. So if you're a nationwide or an international, let's say you're an international company, you could set the hierarchy up. I'll just throw an example out: country, region in the country, maybe state, the county, and village, town, city, site names. So you can set up a hierarchy. And why would you want to do that? You want that for user visibility. So if you only want a manager or a food safety person to see their store, you can set it up that way. From a corporate standpoint, if you want them to see everything in the system, you can set corporate people to see everything in the system. So there is a hierarchy setup you can do from most portals. The portal also allows you to look at each sensor, viewing all the collected data, and there's typically a very simple chart where you can see where you're, in the case of temperature, if your temperatures are within the specs you need, you can see your defrost cycles. And the system should also allow a data dump to a Microsoft Excel for secondary data analysis. One of the other features that we provide is we can actually put a map of a floor plan into the system, and we can actually position each sensor where it really is on the floor map, and then you can actually do a snapshot and show the current status of each sensor in the network on that picture. So it's pretty neat. Then, this alerts is the next subject. Alerts are the key to the system. So, this is the power in the system. So let's say you have a refrigeration unit. It goes beyond the temperature requirements, once again, for food safety or for food quality. What do you want to happen? Well, what you want to happen is the appropriate staff to get a text message detailing the issue. What would the detail be? Hey, what site is it at? Hey, what's the asset that's got the problem's name? What is the issue? Example, temperatures over 50 degrees Fahrenheit, not a good thing. Once again, you got to take the defrost cycle in the case, and the temperature might be above 50 and it might be in a defrost cycle. You don't want to get an alert on that. An alert can be a text message, or it can be an email message, or it can be both if you desire. Alerts can also be set up to repeat, and you can set up the frequency you want it to repeat until the core root cause issue is addressed. And you can also set up, in many systems, you can set up an escalation to alternative staff if the problem isn't fixed in a specific amount of time. And the next thing any IoT system is going to have is a comprehensive reporting system. I think the word we use here is robust. So an IoT monitoring system must provide a reporting of all the key information that it captures. Data collected by the system should be able to be captured in a report. Example, we want temperature data, maybe the battery levels of all the sensors, radio signal strengths, make sure the system's strong. But of course, any different type of sensor, you want the data from that type of sensor. And basically what you could do in reporting is you set a time span and boom, you get the data during that time span for the sensor. The other thing you could do with reporting is set up a subscription. So maybe you want to see a specific location's data on a weekly basis. So you set up a subscription to your email address, and let's say it's every Monday morning. Every Monday morning you get a report, and it shows, you know, the situation at each of the assets that you're monitoring. And you should be able to set it up so you get an immediate report, daily, weekly, monthly, as an examples. So that's a quick overview of all the different components and how we use the web portals to control the system, and alerts being the key to the system, and the reports giving you easy access to the important data.